So I paid off over $174,000 of debt in 2.5 years, and then my wife and I went on to save and invest over $500,000 in the next 5 years, which we've been able to grow to over $700,000 in net worth, thereby allowing me to exit corporate America for good and catapulting us into what's called lean fi. But along the way, we've experienced a lot of loneliness and alienation from some of our friends and family. And I know that if you're watching this, you might be experiencing that as well. So let me reassure you that 1, you're not weird, and 2, you're not alone. Real quick, thanks for liking or disliking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Let's get into it. You're on your way to debt freedom or financial independence, and you're super excited to share some of your ideas, some of your processes, and definitely your wins with your friends and family. But when you do, you're finding that you're not getting quite that enthusiastic response that you sort of expected, and maybe you've started to feel frustrated, isolated, and maybe even a little resentful. Like I said before, you're not alone, and if you clicked over to this video, you probably already know that one of the hardest parts about pursuing debt freedom and then financial independence is the potential loneliness you might feel as you move through the process, especially once you start reaching some of those big goals you should naturally be excited to share. So I want to jump into some of the reasons my wife and I don't share our debt freedom or financial independence journey with friends and family anymore. Most people just don't want to hear about it, really. So you've probably heard the statistic that 78% of the population lives paycheck to paycheck and would have trouble covering a $400 emergency. That's about 8 out of 10 people that you and I know that either 1, just don't care enough to do something about it, or number 2, haven't quite figured out what to do to change their situation. And because of their situation, they likely don't want to hear about your wins or even your struggles around your journey. As a financial coach for over the past 10 years, I've come to see that no matter how big or small the paycheck is, most of the people that you and I know are in some sort of paycheck to paycheck or behind the 8-ball type of financial cycle. And shockingly, few people even care about getting out of debt, let alone the prospect of moving on to financial independence. So in my experience, basically 8 out of 10 people that you and I know personally just don't really care about this stuff or believe that either debt freedom or financial independence could never be possible for them. It's okay, it doesn't make you crazy for pursuing these goals. You just need to find a support system to help you stay encouraged and to share your wins and your struggles. I'll share more about how to do that toward the end of the video. Number 2, we recognized we have to fight our own constant battle against the normal money mindsets. It's important to remember that you are constantly battling all the common attitudes and beliefs about money and debt. Most of the folks we talked about in the last point have one of these beliefs about money. It's what I like to call the you'll always have attitude. You'll always have debt in general. You'll always have credit card debt. You'll always have student loans. You'll always have car loans, personal loans. With this mindset, there's an almost willful ignorance that they can actually change their mindset and their situation by learning some new skills that will help them behave differently with their money than they do right now. Number 3, our culture forbids talking about money. In my opinion, this is one of the most dysfunctional parts of our culture. Why is it so taboo to talk about money? I mean, isn't it something we all have to deal with like on a daily basis? It's been a pretty interesting experience for my wife and me that as we got better at managing our money, we naturally wanted to share our tips and tricks and tools with people in our network, our friends and family. But most people are just not open to it. And so we would always ask ourselves, why? Because it likely reminds them of that frightening statistic that they're a part of, that 78% thingy. And overall, your friends and family just might be irritated by your newfound enthusiasm for frugality and your overall debt elimination or financial independence goals. So remember, just because you see the benefits of debt freedom and financial independence doesn't mean your friends and family actually will. Actually, they probably won't. A lot of people see the frugality and minimalism it sort of takes to get to debt freedom and financial independence as just being cheap. And the sad reality is that most of the people we interact with in our lives do not now, nor will they ever care about debt freedom or financial independence, especially in the way that you and I do. They may not understand why you're so willing to think outside the box for things like ways to be frugal or minimalist to reduce expenses so you can get to your goals faster. They're probably not going to understand or appreciate the sacrifices you're willing to make to reach your goals. In fact, they may even perceive you sharing your wins or your struggles or your overall accomplishments as bragging or attention seeking. We've definitely experienced that. As I alluded to in the beginning of the video, part of my wife's and my journey to financial independence was for me to very strategically go back into and then very quickly exit corporate America as soon as we reached a very specific financial number, which I outline in this video here. One of the biggest challenges that we successfully navigated was thwarting lifestyle creep. You know, the tendency to spend more as you earn more. And our increasing and steady frugality wasn't met with enthusiasm with some of our friends who knew that our income had increased pretty dramatically. We kind of got the feeling that they expected us to start acting like, you know, big baller shot caller as our income dramatically increased. And it did. But we never looked at this new windfall of income that I got when I went back into corporate America as a resource to be consumed. Rather, we looked at it as capital that was actually going to go to work for us. And we just decided that no matter what, we had to be okay with any apparent dissent from our friends and our family because our overarching goal of independence from corporate America was totally worth it. Next, I want to talk about some of the weird things that we were willing to do. Things that people in our networks, your network and my network, that don't understand these goals are going to look at us sort of cross-eyed or with a tilted head and not really get it. So some of these things for us were not owning a home so that we could accumulate cash to buy one outright. Another was living as expensively as we possibly could by renting a basement apartment from a friend, a very fortunate situation, which we still have. Another one that's kind of weird is not owning a TV, so we're not tempted to buy cable or on-demand programs, and then just generally staying away from all the marketing industrial complex stuff on TV. Another one was saying no to friends and family's invitations for going out to eat, for entertainment, for different types of trips and vacations as a way to avoid lifestyle creep. We exercised our frugality even when we went on vacation, like eating meals in, except for, you know, predetermined treats, and then choosing free or inexpensive entertainment options. And we were willing to be uncomfortable in social situations that automatically required spending money we didn't plan for, like, you know, on the fly eating out or the pressure to contribute to some kind of gift for someone at the office. And if you're in either of these phases, debt elimination or pursuing financial independence, you're likely willing to do some of these very sensible things that our culture, and therefore our friends and family, would turn their necks sideways for you even mentioning them. Your friends and family may even think you're making it look easy, even though we both know that it's not easy, and it takes an incredible amount of strategy, focus, planning, and discipline to make it happen. Next, I want to talk about what our commitment cost us. It probably cost us some of our friendships. The sad fact is that some people are just not going to be on board with your journey or the decisions you make in the interest of your goal. It's okay, it's part of life, and we found that friends can tend to come and go along the way. It's sad sometimes, but you don't really have any control over how people are going to respond to your choices. So just be kind, be generous, and keep moving forward. The second thing it cost us was some of the things that go along with immediate gratification, like going on vacations, eating out, entertainment, you know, that kind of thing. But in all honesty, it didn't really feel like a cost to us, especially in light of what those little costs have paid us in the bigger picture. Other than those two things, it's been amazing. So for us, it's all been worth it to get to our goals. Are there some things we could have done differently or situations we could have managed better? Sure. But this is all part of the learning curve when you're learning how to negotiate our endemically dysfunctional personal finance culture for the purposes of garnering some more freedom in your own life. Now, if you're multitasking, I want you to come back here with me for a second because now I want to share what we gained. First of all, freedom from debt and the financial stress that goes along with all of that. So totally worth it. We gained a modicum of financial independence, what we call lean-fi, and that really just adds another beautiful layer of joy to being completely debt-free. We're not exactly where we'd like to be financially, but then again, it's unrealistic unrealistic to think that we would ever be exactly where we want to be, any of us. All that said, we are abundantly content. Third, we were able to escape what I call the corporate cult for good and really dive headfirst into this Zero Debt Coach platform, into helping our students do some version of what we did in accordance with their goals. Those two elements, freedom from corporate and being able to serve our audience in an authentic and creative way, has been more fun and more fulfilling than I could have possibly imagined, and helps me to see that I actually could have jumped from corporate even sooner. Okay, remember when I told you earlier to stick around to the end? If this is all something that you're struggling with and you constantly feel isolated about it, I've got some great news for you, and it's free. Our private Facebook group, Zero Debt Tribe. It's a group of like-minded people that are all somewhere along this paycheck to paycheck debt elimination and on their way to financial independence continuum. So click the link in the description box below and apply to join us. How can Zero Debt Coach help you? 4 ways. 1, subscribe to the channel and click on the notifications bell to make sure you get our new videos every week. 2, download one of our free personal finance guides. You'll learn some of the exact strategies I teach my private coaching students on how to organize and optimize their finances, obliterate their debt, and move on to financial independence by starting and growing an online business. Number 3, if you're looking for a community of motivated and like-minded people, go ahead and get on the wait list to join our private financial coaching community. We only open it for new students a couple of times a year, so make sure you get on the wait list for that. And number 4, if you need some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need a problem solved, you want to talk through a complex situation, go to zerodebtcoach.com and click on the Become a Student button. And finally, check out one of these videos and keep on building your financial acumen. Let's make this your best year yet. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.